Hello, everybody. Dicko, we're back in action, mate. 2 days out. No, 1 day out from Origin. God, time's flying by. It's going to be a wet track. Man down today. Molly's in Hawaii, the lucky bugger.
Lucky for some.
Yeah. I wish. That's all right. When we're in Vegas next year and he's in Australia, we'll say thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Mate, now we're going to talk about the Origin, of course, coming up. And obviously this week's fixtures post Origin. But I tell you what, we've got a bit to talk about. The Dolphins and how well they're going. Manly, they're in crisis. Couple of dubious calls, one in particular from the Roosters game, whether we think that's a try or no try. And there's a little bit of power exuberated by the NRL at the moment, where they can overrule the match review committee. So we'll touch on that as well. But before we get stuck into the episode, massive shout out to all our sponsors, High Caliber Racing, Create, and Gripstar High Performance Socks. Those of you who haven't checked out our code Nostra30 for the Gripstar socks, jump on, check out High Caliber Racing. The boys at HRC are flying at the moment, and Create, as you can see, merch popping off here. We're about to get some done for our next make, and we're looking at launching some. What do we call it? We're going to bring an entourage to Vegas, sporting our gear. So that will be good. Now, Dicko, first
Yes,
thing
mate.
first, Manly, they are in turmoil, massive turmoil, and there's a lot of things obviously happening that we're going to discuss, but this is all stemmed from DCE and
Yeah,
his
well, I think
decision to
so.
leave the club.
Mm.
Is believed that there's been meetings held with every single player yesterday at the club, 7 minute rounds. It was almost like a dating game or something that Seabold was playing with his players. They're not too happy, and from all reports, he's been given 2 games
Mm-hmm.
to turn things around. Otherwise, he's kaput. What do you make of this situation?
Well, if you're a Manly supporter, it's not great, is it? I wouldn't have thought. We've sort of been waiting for a club to fall into a bit of crisis talks for the
Hmm.
last sort of few weeks, haven't we? There's been some Titans, we thought, but Manly over the last, since the Broncos game, really, where they looked like a top four team, although the Broncos were ordinary. Um,
You'd almost say Desi's buried his old club.
Well, that's right. The last 2 weeks they've been abysmal. Like that Titans game, it's almost like they rolled up for a holiday and just thought it would happen for them.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I really feel like they got players playing in positions that I don't think suit them. So I really feel like he's got to get that right. He's got
Mm.
to start. He's got to start picking players on form, not on reputation. So there's a big name this week. Travojevic will move into the centres, we hear, from when the teams get named this week. So that,
Well, they got a bye this week, so they got a time to sort of
yeah, well, next game, he's
next
going to be moved
game.
into the centres, right? So that is an interesting call because I think Manly have been at their best this year when Lehigh Hopewade has played fullback.
Yeah,
I
I
think he's
completely
wasted on
agree.
the
I
wing.
think
I think
he
he's wasted on the wing.
I, I, I'm a bit. I'm not. I'm impressed that Manly have put their foot down from board perspective, but for more reports, the CEO and Seabold are pretty cushy.
Mm.
And conveniently for Manly, one would assume, although no one should assume these days, the I guess deadline of 2 games that they've given him are both at home
Mm.
against the Tigers and against the Rabbitohs. So you would like to think that they're two very winnable games, but I guess it's sort of like, yep, this is make or break. We've often seen in these times that some clubs or players have already decided they maybe don't want the coach to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real like Anthony Seibold comes with a reputation of a really analytical sort of
Mm.
thinker, right? Very complicated in terms of his game sort of tactics.
Yeah, he gives a lot of data out and
Yeah, loves data and analytics. So I'm not entirely surprised that this has sort of happened with Manly. I feel like they're a bit of a one-trick pony. If Ola Kawadu doesn't have a good game, and even Tom Trbojevic to an extent, but again, he's had been in and out of the team. So I really feel like if Ola Kawadu doesn't play well, they can't score.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It all revolves around that, and they've got there's different. The best teams had different ways to score tries, right?
Mm.
Both sides of the fields are a threat, but with them, I think it's just the right hand side, Ola Kawadu, and if he doesn't barge over the line or create something, I don't know whether they can score.
Yeah.
And you can't even say that injuries have played a part. I mean, yeah, Tom's been out, Turbo's been out for a bit. You know, a couple of the wingers have been injured. Cherry Evans has missed a game when he's been in Origin, but you know what I mean. Like it's not injury turmoil, so
No.
it's really hard to get a read on because I had
Yeah,
them.
they've had the injuries. They've actually had depth.
They've had depth,
Okay.
right? So I've had them in the top eight at the start of the season. They're too good to be going this poorly.
Yeah.
And the Titans game on the weekend was abysmal. That was shocking, and as you said, it can't be a coincidence that this is happening on the back of whatever this contract situation is. And I'm not even saying about him going to the Roosters. I'm saying about him sort of leaving in the first place. Like I don't even know why he's leaving. Why wouldn't Manly, if he wants to play on, why wouldn't they just get a deal done with him? The bloke's played, what, 10, 11, 12, 13 years there.
Well, I
I don't
almost
understand
think
it.
that.
So have Manly done it to themselves rather than DCE? You know what I mean?
Well, I actually think the Roosters have gone cold on DCE. Like I genuinely think that that's probably the case because if I'm looking at DC's form right now, and it's believed that he wants a 2-year
You're
contract,
not giving him a 2-year deal on current form at 30. What is he? 36. You are not, or 35.
especially at million.
No way.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got a kid who's what, 20, that's coming back from an injury, he's going to be a good player. He's got Origin written all over him.
Plus,
You,
you've got Hugo Savala and Sandon Smith like
Sanders
doing a
Smith,
great job.
like the Roosters, that has always just been bizarre. How they were chasing him, even when they were linked with Ben Hunt earlier. You know, this season, that was silly as well. I thought from a point of view, I actually think the Roosters are one of the teams that have got really young halves and can develop them into like a Penrith style
Mm.
halves combination that can go 5 years, 6 years. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the disappointing thing from Manly in general is they've played some games this year where they dead set look unbelievable. Look at the Broncos. Oh, funnily enough, our two teams.
Mm.
They smashed the Broncos and played brilliantly. They smashed Penrith, played brilliantly. They actually smashed the Raiders 40-12.
Mm.
So, and then they've had these disappointing losses to like the Dragons at home. They lost to the Eels by 20 points, lost to the Knights after absolutely dominating them, and then
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Titans. So, like, they've had a really rocks and diamonds season,
Mm.
as have most teams. But with the Seabold situation, I'd love to know the truth. I would genuinely love to know the truth on what's happened because to me, Seabold is obviously a good coach and the
Mm.
analytics has its place, but the analytics is more for like a technical director or general manager of football or someone in a different role to have that data to then give to the coach to do with that data what he wants,
Yep.
not to give that data to the players. And let's face it, IQ scores of NRL players probably aren't that high.
Mm.
So it'd be different if you were going into a soccer change room
Mm.
around data and analytics. But when you're presenting players who it's run hard, tackle hard,
Well, it's a very simple game when you break it down, isn't it?
yeah. But the coaches can use that data that he's really good at getting and finding to then create training scenarios that help the players benefit on game day and in attack and defense. Not give that data to the players and then go, I don't even know what you're talking about, mate, sort of thing, and not
Yep.
know what to do with it, which
Yep.
I think is what's happening. So I think he does have his place.
Yep.
And don't be surprised if he sort of steps away from coaching and more into a role that, suits what he's good at.
Well, these
then,
meetings and these crisis meetings are never good, mate. The writing's on the wall when this happens.
well, 7 minutes per player to talk about what they're doing right and wrong.
And then 2 games to turn it around. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, it's not good. They've got a week to sort it out. And as you said before, Lehigh Hopewadi goes into fullback and Turbo in the centres. So, yeah, let's see. Not to mention the Gerbo, Turbo, and Burbo contracts that are up. They still need to be sorted out.
Well, that's a real issue now hanging over there. I listened to radio this morning, and I mean, Tom Trbojevic is a shadow of the player he can be, and he was. Like he's not. He looks concerned when he runs. He doesn't.
So is Gerbo, to be fair.
He doesn't have that tackle breaking ability anymore because of the. I don't know whether the confidence in the legs. I'm not sure, but I don't think the contract is going to be interesting to see where they come up with, because I definitely, if you're looking at it right now, you're not offering him top money. I wouldn't have thought, because you're not going to get bang for buck out of it.
Yeah, they need to do some soul searching because they've got to upgrade some of these younger players like Tolu Kola and
who's going to be gun.
That matter. What they really need to find is use some of that money for some middle forwards because they got nothing.
Yeah.
They've been a little bit hampered by injury, but again, no more than any other club.
No, that's right. Exactly. That's no excuse, the injury part for them.
Yeah, look at the Dolphins, and we'll jump straight into it. They're missing Tom Flegler, and it's rumoured that Daniel Saifidi is potentially out for the season as well.
I think he's gone. I don't think that's rumoured. I think he's actually gone for the season, yeah. And
so
Tom Gilbert's gone for the season as well.
Well, there you go. There's 3 of their arguably
their best forwards.
Best forwards, leaders, most experienced players in an area where they already were pretty light on, no offense. And they are absolutely flying, mate. They are flying.
They're having a purple patch.
0-4, and I mean, not credit where credit's due, but we were their biggest, critics at the start of the year. We were thinking they're a joke. They couldn't beat an understrength Rabbitohs. They got beaten by the Knights, who were horrid. They then lost to the Tigers, who, quite frankly, were quite poor on that day as well. The Broncos beat them, who weren't travelling that well. And then all of a sudden, they smash the Titans, they smash Penrith, they smash Melbourne, just lose to the Raiders and the Chooks. And then they go on this run of beating the Eels in a tight one, narrowly missing out on the Warriors, who Dolphins were probably the better side on the day. And then they beat the Bulldogs 44-8, the Dragons 56-6, and then on the weekend 58-4 over the Cowboys in Townsville. And they play the Knights this weekend, and as a Knights fan, I'd be really worried. The game after that's the Rabbitohs.
I think I hear what you're saying. I think we need to asterisk the Cowboys game and the Bulldogs game. I'm pretty sure you'll find that Origin players weren't playing in those 2 fixtures. Yep. And that the Dolphins have only Hammer playing Origin.
Yep.
That's right, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Hammer plus those 3 injuries.
Plus the injuries.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that they're going very well. They're in a great purple patch at the moment, but we need to asterisk, I think, those 2, because I think that's different. I still think they get the job done against the Cowboys. I don't think they hammer the Bulldogs when they're fully at full strength. They might win, but I don't definitely. That was in that howling rain that night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But they're definitely in a purple patch. It's just another one of those situations where they are, even if they aren't playing well and are getting dominated, they are hanging in there and they are not letting the scoreboard get out of control. and it's what the really good sides do. And Melbourne do it as well. They might be having an off night, but they just hang in and hang in and hang in, and then all of a sudden they get an opportunity and they get it done. But the last few weeks for the Dolphins, I still don't think they're a chance of winning the comp, right? Purely because we're at round 15. You are going to have to be very lucky to have your top guys now get through without getting injured.
Yeah.
And if they suffer some injuries, their depth is questionable.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm talking about injuries, I'm talking about injuries to a couple of players. If Isaiah Katoa goes down, I think it's almost, I mean, you could say that about any team with a halfback, but if he goes down, he's the form halfback in the comp. He's the best player in the comp at the moment on form. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But if he goes down and he gets injured, the Dolphins, they're gone. They're Gonski. They can't replace him. Whereas I think other teams can sort of get around a little bit. So I don't think we're sleeping on them. I think they're going probably better than what I thought, but I think they'll be in the 8, but I don't think they're a chance of winning the comp.
Well, look, the bit that I feel bullish about the Dolphins is two things. One, defensively,
very good.
Are the second best points per game behind the Bulldogs.
Very good, yep.
In the comp, defensively.
Yeah.
For a team who went 0-4 to be the second best defensive team in the comp, in points per game, is incredible. They are the best attacking team in the amount of points they've scored per game.
Yeah, only just Melbourne a second, yep.
And to be fair, Storm have played 2 less games. So, you can't read into that too much. But what I find impressive about the Dolphins is not just the way they're winning, because the understrength part is very valid, but it's that they're blowing away teams.
Yeah, so that's great. Absolutely. That's
and
what
we
should
don't
be
see
done.
that, regardless of who's in, who's out. Even from the likes of the Storm, most of the time, apart from the first game of the season where they smashed the Eels, they've been relatively inconsistent for most of the time. And that Storm game that the Dolphins beat them, they were both at full strength that night.
Yep.
And I think the Storm were up 16 too.
Yeah, that was I remember that game. That was at Suncorp. Yeah. That was an interesting
since
game.
that point, I think it's almost galvanized that group.
It's clicked. Yep.
And given them, substantial. Like we're talking about, they're starting middle forwards. Like, let's quickly go through them because we don't want to spend too much time sort of rambling on about the Dolphins and their chances because, it could all fall in a heap. But we're talking like Francis Molo, Felice Kafusi, basically a has-been, who plays 34 minutes in the middle. 34 minutes he played on the weekend in the middle. Oren Keeley, Kurt Donahue playing lock, and then you've got sort of the old head Mark Nichols coming off the bench. Like
Josh Kerr,
like that's their team. Ray Stone, like these players that are like pretty much no names and who would arguably be on the bench or maybe not even make the 17 at any other club.
Yeah.
Getting the job done.
Which is a credit to the coach and the coaching staff and where the club is. Like it's.
Have we finally seen a Wayne Bennett?
Oh, the curse has been lifted for sure. Do you know what? I actually thought it would be because they've got enough talent there. Like he left Newcastle and Newcastle didn't have much talent. Right. So, I Dolphins are in a great spot. They just need fingers crossed for the Dolphins supporters and they just need a little bit of luck with injuries and they'll be thereabouts. They'll be tough to beat in a final, no doubt about it.
Well, if they win the next 2 games, which they technically should, against the Knights at home and it's actually against the Knights in Perth, which I did not realise that they're playing in Perth. So maybe the Dolphins players will back
up. HBF Park. Saturday night. Yeah, well, they will definitely play. I'm going home.
That's convenient for them, isn't it? Should have had the
leave it alone.
Dear, oh dear. Well, then they play the the Rabbitohs, then they have a bye. So, mate, 6 points in 3 weeks, as you know, in this competition, they'd be on the brink of the top four.
Can I just say, with the buys, it's a bit of the ladder's just out of control, and it's you kind of whenever you get a buy, it's sort
Mate,
of
the Panthers are nearly in the 8, like you said before.
well, that's what I mean, mate. Like they're nearly
They
one
were
point out of
last
the 8,
3 weeks ago.
and they've had the two buys, right? They've had two buys in that period of time, so they've banked 4 points where they may not have had they not had the buys.
Mm.
So it's a case of where's your buy fallings, kind of giving you a bit of a leg up on the ladder.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Now, let's get stuck into a bit of controversy. Roosters game. Siwa Wong, the try that I believe was called a try on field.
So it's called a try on field, was it?
I believe it was called a try on field, yes.
And then the bunker couldn't find anything to overrule it from being a try. Okay.
Well, apparently there was no separation. Apparently.
So, okay. This is rabbit hole territory here.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay. So we've obviously put up a reel of the footage and mixed reviews. Obviously, there's a few Chooks fans in there throwing their 2 bobs worth in. But from a neutral perspective, the consensus is it wasn't a try.
well, looking at it live, yeah, absolutely. There's no way you can give that a try. I mean, my thoughts on that was he tried to grab the ball and he didn't have control of it, and it inadvertently ended up on his forearm and he grounded it. And they've gone, okay, so if he's tried to grab it, he's required to then re-grip it because he didn't grab it the first time.
I'm not sure about you, but how does the ball go from here to here by touching your skin the entire time?
Well, see, that's the thing. So he's gone to grab it, right? So therefore he's required to re-grip it and then put downward pressure, right? And even the other way, the other part of the rule is you can ground the ball with your arm, forearm, and or your chest.
Yes.
But the ball has to be on the ground.
Correct.
You can't ground it
after you've touched it with your hand and lost
after you touch it with your hand. So I'd love to know, and I'm sure Graham Annesley has come out and
they've defended it. They've defended
rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that yesterday. I just can't with the bunker anymore because that to me, just looking at it from a rugby league fan point of view, I don't even need the bunker to tell me. I don't even need the rule. Just looking at it, it automatically go no try. Close, but no try. Didn't have control. Bang, no try. And even if it was my team, I'd go, oh, that's probably a little bit unlucky. That's
well, they interviewed the Roosters players after the game, and they're like, "Oh, we'll take it." Like if it was a try, they wouldn't have said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
players know.
But and as you said, and as we've said, we've banged on about it for the last we've been doing this now for 12 months.
Yeah,
we've banged on about it how the bunker is going to cost a team a win, and that's probably cost the Knights a victory.
Well, the biggest issue I have with it is, and if we went back through all the tries / no tries that have been scored, actually all the no tries, because I don't believe there's been one call that has resulted in a try, except for this one, where players have re-gripped it and potentially put it down elsewhere, where it's still gone up as a try. Confirmed. I would say that there's between 5 and 10 at least this year where similar things occurred and it's been called a no try.
Yeah, and I don't need 7 replays to look at it. I would have had 1 replay and no try. It's as simple as that. I mean, the easiest thing to do is to amend the rule. You can only score a try by gripping the ball and placing it on the ground and or downward pressure with your hands. For the life of me, I can't understand how you can score a try with your torso.
Well, I think the more time they give the bunker, the more dubious the decision becomes.
Oh, look, they almost need a shot clock in there. You can't make a decision. Just go with the ref.
Yep.
I have no issue with the ref calling it a try because I must admit in real time, it probably looked like a try.
Well, that's the problem. They didn't actually say it's inconclusive. We're going with the ref. They
Yeah.
actually said he's grounded the ball with his forearm and it's a try.
Yeah. It's just a balls up. I just got nothing. I've honestly got nothing.
Yeah. Well, let's tap in a little bit more while we're on it. The NRL powers above have come out and said we're going to be able to overrule now on the match review committee.
Yeah. The can of worms has been opened.
I
So
don't know if we need to dive too deep into it,
well, just for people out there
but for
unsure what
people
that
who don't
means,
understand, yeah.
it's effectively match review. Player commits an offence on field. He's put on report, goes to the match review. The match review might decide, okay, we don't think he's got anything to sort of um, be worried about. So therefore, they let him off. The NRL or the ARLC, the commission can go. Hang on a second, we're going to overrule the match review's decision because we think that he should be suspended and or fined and or whatever else.
So
So
as an example, Billy Army kick out situation the other week.
yeah,
He goes and
yeah,
attempts to charge down a kick.
yeah, great call.
Everyone thinks it's a farce. Match review committee go, yep, no worries, we're going to remove the charge. The ARL, NRL can come in and go, no, we're trying to crank down on that problem in the game. He's actually going to get a suspension.
So it begs the question: what is the point of a match review committee now? What's the point of having it?
Yeah. Well, maybe there's more jobs there for Moley that he can apply for.
Well, he's putting his hand up for one.
So what do you call that? They're the match review committee oversight committee? What are they called? What's their new
Mate,
title?
I'm not sure you can have another committee. There's that many committees. It's not funny. But I just don't. I just when you have different committees and different people and all looking at one incident, you're never gonna get clarity on it. So
You just get more opinions.
yeah, so inevitably you're never going to get the right. So there's no point now of having a match review committee. You may as well just get the ARLC, the commission, which is a bunch of Volandis and whoever else sits on it. I don't actually know who else is on the commission. You may as well just get them to do it all. Like, what's the point of having a match review committee? I don't understand. Like, some of the decision making.
Choose what they review and will not review.
Yeah, some of the decision making is just
Have they said they're going to review every incident?
They'll review everything. Yeah, of course they will. Absolutely, they will.
Or are they just going to pick? Oh, honestly, it would not shock me if they went, you know what, we're going to pick one game around where we step in and analyse.
Well, whatever they think they need to step in, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as they're overviewing everything and the result is
this is trouble. This is big trouble. Because then if the ARLC, right, let's think about it. The ARLC, the match review committee don't charge Viliami Kickout, right? His case is thrown out. The ARLC go, well, hang on a sec. We then think that warrants a 2-game suspension. We're trying to protect kickers and whatever else. Do the Bulldogs challenge that? Are they allowed to challenge the ARLC?
Oh, maybe this stops it.
Well, again, then so you're losing your right to challenge? I mean, where are we stopping here?
Yeah, it's not good.
It's when I heard that today, I couldn't believe it. They've told the NRL clubs. I think the NRL clubs are blowing up Deluxe, not happy about it. I think there's just a little bit of there's a power. You know what I mean? Like there's a really power shift being created here by.
Are the NRL trying to say, "Oh, match review committee, I think you've got a few calls wrong"?
Well, yeah, and I think the match review committee is a separate committee from the NRL, which again,
is great because it's supposed to be there to create non-biased opinions. So we're going to bring the bias back.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Some of these decisions are baffling.
Moving on to the important game tomorrow night. Let's get stuck into it. Queensland versus New South Wales. Now, we obviously had our 2 bobs worth when the teams were originally named and our stance. Has your position changed, Dicko? And if so, why?
On who's going to win?
Yeah, or anything about the
No,
game,
no,
comments.
no.
Um, do you still think Queensland's going to get walloped?
Yes. And that pains me to say
Yeah, well, for the listeners
because
who don't know, we're both Queenslanders.
yeah, that pains me to say because I just don't. From all reports, it's going to be a wet day in Perth tomorrow. A little bit of rain around in the night at game time, and I just think that plays into the hands of New South Wales' big, mobile, powerful forwards who dominated on a dry track in game one. What's to not say they're going to dominate it? They're not going to dominate again. So
They're down 10 mil today and between 8 and 30 mil tomorrow.
yeah, it just plays into the hands of their kicking game is stronger than ours. I think it could be, yeah, it could get very ugly for Queensland. I don't like. I've said this last week. I don't like the team that we've picked. I just can't get my head around some decisions. There's been a talk today that Kurt Mann might come in and start instead of Harry Grant and bring him off the bench, but there's a saying that you can't win an Origin game in the first 20, but you can definitely lose one in the first 20 minutes. And I really fear for Queensland in this first 20 minutes of this Origin game. I don't know whether there's enough mongrel in that Queensland pack to go with New South Wales for the first 20, especially
Well,
if
it's
it's
very
wet.
unlike us, isn't it? We've made eight, let's call it changes. Or
Yeah,
quick,
positionally or player personnel. Yep.
you've missed it. Like Bo Fermor's not in the team anymore, and neither is DCE. We've brought in Kurt Capewell, and Tommy Dearden's been elevated to the starting side. Uh, Xavier Coates and now Hammer are switching sides. And
Yeah, reportedly. Yep.
mark up with Lomax. Holmes has gone from the wing to the centre. Hammer, obviously, from the centre to the wing. Dearden comes in, obviously, for DCE. Kurt Capewell starts second row. Trent Liero starts lock. Jeremiah Nanai shifts to the bench along with Paddy Carrigan. Um, that's a lot. That's a lot of change. With maybe Kurt Mann potentially starting at hooker
Mm,
for Harry Grant.
mm.
Um, it can go one or two ways. All these changes could completely just turn into a schmozzle, and yes, Queensland get walloped. Or Billy is doing, well, he's obviously doing exactly what he feels is the right play. But there's a lot of coaches that think they should do something based on what happened in the previous game and don't do it because they don't want to make so many changes.
Mm.
Because they think it's a one-off or players can be better or whatever. But Billy's gone, nah, you know what? I'm going to try and fix everything that we didn't do well
Yep.
and leave no stone left unturned. So that part of me fills me with a little bit more confidence that,
Yep.
and I think from a player perspective and from a public perspective, you go, well, you can't blame him for doing what he's done because he's literally done exactly where the issues currently lie, or where he feels like we were sort of beaten in game one, and that was through the middle. Whether or not those middles can do a job, I,
I
I
mean, the bench also made in game one was absolutely slaughtered. The
yeah,
Queensland bench. So
I
is
like our bench. I
yeah,
really,
I do, but I think in saying that we've strengthened the bench and we've to the detriment of the starting team. Does that
mm.
make sense?
Well, finally, Brandy, someone external to us, has come out and gone, why on earth is Ruben Cotter playing second row?
Well, who are the two best locks in the game?
Isaiah Yo, Paddy Carrigan.
So then why is Pat Carrigan on the bench? I get it from a point of view as he's trying to strengthen the bench, right? I get that. But you can't tell me that Queensland aren't a better team if Pat Carrigan starts the game because he's got the
Well,
ability to be physically dominant against some of these New South Wales forwards.
is he going to come on for Mo or Trent?
I think he comes on for Fodawaker. I think Pat plays a lot of front row, personally.
Is it just purely a case of, this is how I look at it? I think Harry Grant will start and play the 80. I think that Paddy Carrigan will come on for Mo. And then I think Kurt Mann will come on for Trent. Lindsay will give Tino a break, and Nanai will come on for Ruben. At around, and I think if I'm Billy, I'm making every single one of those changes at about the 20, 25-minute
Yeah.
mark.
So
All of them.
yeah. So if we remember game one, that Queensland, the only positive that came out of that game was when Queensland shifted the ball from sideline to sideline, and we're on the front foot a little bit. We actually looked quite lethal, potent. We look like we're going to open New South Wales up, right?
Mm.
And sometimes with selecting a big, strong forward pack, you can be susceptible for that lateral shift.
Yeah.
And I think that's how Slater wants to play. But you cannot play like that if you don't dominate the middle first. And that's where we fell away in game one, right? So
Yeah.
he's obviously banking from the team he's picked a mobile forward pack, albeit not a huge forward pack.
Not going to be relying on the yardage coming out from Hammer or Xavier or
And
Toy.
a lot of the forwards that he's selected, Tino's and the Ruben Cotters and the Paddy Carrigans and Lieros and the Kurtmans play big minutes.
Yeah.
They play big minutes. They've got great footwork at the line, and they all have a bit of a passing game.
Yeah. Do you reckon he's almost going, you know what, guys? I know you can all play 80, but I want you to give 150% for 40 to 60 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think so, but I still think that if New South Wales play the game that they want to play, they're too good. They are just too good at the moment on paper. They're too good. They've got too many weapons. Queensland are missing a few players through injury and whatnot that I would have had in the team that I really think would bolster us. We've also, because of the stocks, we've got, as you said, Ruben Cotter playing in the back row, which again, for the life of me, I cannot understand. And
Here's
yeah,
for you. If it's 0-0 at the 20th minute and all these changes happen, how do you feel about Queensland's chances?
the longer it stays close, the better I feel.
Yeah.
Because I think if New South Wales get out to a lead, Queensland don't have enough points in them to chase it down.
Yeah.
And as much as New South Wales are a good side, they're a great front running team. A great front running team. I want to see them under a bit of pressure.
Yes.
And
yes.
see how they go under a bit of pressure.
I don't feel like Max King, like their weak links, in my opinion, are Max King and Stefano.
Mm.
They're their weak links.
Mm.
And I feel like if Mo can go toe-to-toe with Max King, and with all due respect to Max King, surely Mo can give 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And go toe-to-toe with him. Because I can tell you what, Paddy Carrigan's a hell of a better player than Stefano.
Yeah.
And on Jeremiah's day, he can go toe-to-toe with Hudson. Because Hudson won't be used until later in the game.
Yeah.
And Lindsay can have just as much of an impact as Spencer can.
Yeah, I feel like New South Wales, you're right with all that. You're right, absolutely with all that. And I feel like New South Wales have to be off about sort of 5%. And
Yep.
I feel like there's probably 4 or 5 Queenslanders that need to really have games of their lives. And
will the captaincy, you think, for Munster be a hindrance or a big confidence boost?
no, I think it'll be a confidence boost. I don't think it changes him in any way because if you watch Cameron Munster, he loves to be involved in the game anyway. So I don't really think it's gonna hinder him at all. He's just got to go out there and play the same as what he's been playing, which is just be highly involved. I'd like Tom Dearden and Kalen Ponga to do a lot of the kicking and not Munster, personally. I don't think Munster's kicking game is great.
Yep. Focus on him more organising the outside.
Focus on organising the outside, running the footy. That's where he's dangerous. And I want Tom Dearden and Ponga to both just run the footy. Just run the footy. Don't die wondering. Don't just shift it on. Challenge the line because I feel like the more questions Queensland can ask, the more pressure New South Wales will find themselves under.
Really high-scoring, entertaining game.
It could be, yeah. Yep.
Particularly if the rain stays, somewhat away.
Yep.
I think it could be an entertaining game. But if it's pouring down,
I just worry. Yeah, I worry a little bit. I worry,
well,
and I really hope the referee stays out of this game. Like, put the whistle away, let the
yeah,
players decide the outcome. Because what will happen at the end of the 80 minutes if he does that is the best team will end up winning the game, right?
yep.
Regardless of whether it's a slow play the balls or whatever, the best team will end up winning the game at the end of the game, at the end of the 80 minutes, if he puts his whistle away. It's what'll happen, which is what I hope he does.
That being said, people want to know who's going to win and by how much.
New South Wales by 12.
New South Wales by 12.
And I would normally tip Queensland all the time, but I think it'll be close, but I just think they're too good. I just think they're too good.
At the start of the week, if you asked me, I would have said New South Wales relatively comfortably, but I'm actually going to lock in Queensland.
This is why we're NRL Nostradamus right here. Hey.
Queensland by
One.
2. But I feel like we will lead and hold on for dear life to win by 2.
Mate, you're getting me excited. You're
I
getting me
don't
excited
feel
thinking
like
about it.
New South Wales, if they get out to a lead, we're going to mow them down, like you said.
Yeah, I can't see that happening.
But I can see us matching them for 20, 25 minutes. And once those reinforcements come into play, Billy needs to go, boys, 20, 25 minutes, batten down the hatches, keep it tight. Don't try anything fancy. Get your play the balls done, make your tackles, good ball speed, like just all the fundamentals, kick chase, just do all the basic things right. Complete high. Don't try and throw offloads. Don't try and do flick passes. Just complete your sets, get to your kicks, wait till fatigue starts coming into the game. But then there needs to be a call go out. Boys, open slather, 15 minutes, go for it.
Mm.
That's what needs to happen.
Just before we move on, I want you to just sort of take stock of this, right? I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks. This New South Wales team reminds me of that Queensland dominant side, right? At the moment, there's an air of arrogance around them and a lot of their players. You can see it in the way they tackle. You can see it in the way they run, the standover, the yelling in the face. There's an arrogance about them. Queensland did it when they won 8 in a row, 12 out of 14 series or whatever it was, right? They don't believe they can be beaten at the moment, New South Wales, all right? So I feel like this is one of the most important games in Queensland's origin history because if they don't win this and make a bit of a statement, they don't even need to win for me. They need to make a statement, a physical statement, right? And if they don't, it rings alarm bells for the next 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, if it's a convincing win to New South Wales, given the stock that Queensland have currently coming through versus who's missed out for New South Wales and what they have at their disposal, yeah, it could be
It's panic stations.
a little dynasty. And I think that's why Billy's done it. I genuinely think that Billy's gone, you know what? There's no room for error here. Like, I just have to make all these changes because if I don't, I'll have regrets.
If they're fair dinkum about it and making a statement, they kick to Spencer Leniu the first time he's out there. They kick the ball to him.
Absolutely wallop him.
You kick the ball to him, and if you whatever happens, but you kick the ball to him. He wants it. None of this business of kicking away to him. Give him what he wants, and then just go down there and make a statement by belting him. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Now let's round it off. Let's get stuck straight into the previews for this weekend. Obviously,
yeah, these are always difficult, aren't they? During Origin, players backing up. As you're carrying on about, you got Penrith players that can't get to New Zealand.
We'll go because the game's in Perth. Apart from the Dolphins paying the NRL to have a game over in Perth, we'll tip on the assumption that the Origin players are out.
Okay.
Tigers versus the Raiders.
No. So the Raiders will win that comfortably.
comfortably. Well,
Comfortably.
obviously Jerome Luai's in now, so chances of him coming back slim to none.
No, he'll be back, mate. He'll be back at Campbelltown on Friday night. Don't worry about that.
Not a chance. Well, you know what? He might.
Mate, there's a flight straight out.
After Tommy Dearden lays one on his chin, he won't be able to get up.
I love it. I love the way you're thinking. No, the Raiders
Yeah,
comfortably
lock
here.
in the Raiders. Yeah,
Raiders comfortably.
yeah. Warriors versus Panthers. Don't need to talk about it. Warriors by 50.
Warriors comfort. Oh no, you know what? Warriors. Warriors will win. I'm not gonna. I don't know the margin because I do think Penrith's defensive system's still very good. They won't concede a lot. But I think the Warriors. Luke Metcalf, one of the form players of the comp, will take the Warriors to victory here.
To Penrith's credit for those
Oh,
who
I knew it. I knew it was gonna.
are the New South Wales Cup team is actually in the top four, which is crazy to think with the amount of players who have left Penrith's team. The fact that their New South Wales Cup team is top four is actually crazy. But as I said, no Origin players going. Lindsay Smith included in that, by the way, 19th man. So 6 players, all not playing. Penrith have no hope. No hope at all. Like not even
Okay, you've had your little sook about Penrith. Let's move on.
absolute gut. Oh, not to mention the 5-day backup for the Bulldogs next week. But we'll talk about that next week. Dolphins versus the Knights. The Knights can't beat them, can they?
I don't think so. Like, no, I don't. I think the Dolphins, they're just in red hot form at the moment.
KP will play. KP will play. It's him.
Well, depends on if he backs up, gets through the game. Yep. But no, even if he does play, I just think the Dolphins in too good a form. Too good a form for me.
Yeah. No, lock in the Dolphins. Rabbitohs versus the Storm.
Interesting game, this.
Dion Kolomatangi is out with the fractured eye socket. Well, not 100% confirmed, but it is believed that he's fractured his eye socket.
Jai Gray is out with a fractured thumb.
Yep. And I think Jaden Sullivan
did his calf or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the young, the Pom comes in to play. That could open a door there. You got Jamie Humphreys. Someone said that Cody Walker's might even be able to come back. I don't know how that's possible, but
it'd be a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if his name's in the extended. But I think the Storm will win. But I think Wayne's had this circled for a little bit, so I think it'll be close. I don't think they won't blow the Rabbitohs away, but it's just a touch of class from the Storm at the end will get them over the line.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Storm, but not as convincing as maybe others think.
Yep.
This is a cracker. This is the
game of the round, I reckon. Yeah, you're right.
One, because the Broncos don't have that many Origin players, and well, to be fair, they have their 2 best players probably playing Origin, Paddy Carrigan and Payne Haas, but they previously had about 6 to 8. And the Sharks, who are just an absolute.
Well,
I don't know how to talk about those guys, but they got no one.
This is a statement game, mate, for both teams, I think.
Broncos are favourites.
Yeah. I can understand that. Just going off from the last sort of previous game, I reckon.
If Payne and Paddy don't back up,
they will play. They will play.
If they don't, though,
yep,
they win still.
Can the Broncos win?
Yeah. Ben Hunt might be back.
Yeah, there's a very big chance that Ben Hunt is named in the extended, which will push him to hooker, which I've been waiting for, I tell you, for 15 rounds for that to happen. Can they win without them too? I think it'll be close. No. I'm actually quite confident in Brisbane this game. I felt like they got a lot of confidence out of the last performance that they had. And I really feel like it might have clicked in their head about what they've got to do and where it's got to go.
Well, they're on previous form. You can't read either of these teams.
No, so this is a big, this is a tough game to tip. I'll tip the Brisbane purely at home, Suncorp, although their record at Suncorp this year hasn't been great. But the Sharks, I can't get a read. I can tip more confidently with the Broncos than what I can with the Sharks at the moment.
Yeah.
Either team can win on the day.
Higher ceiling than the Sharks.
Yeah.
And I feel like particularly where the Sharks can dominate some teams, is where Broncos have your Payne Haas's and your Paddy Carrigans to do a job. And now that Jensen is starting front row.
Again, that's what I'm talking about. I realise it's clicked. I think they realise it's clicked.
And if Ben Hunt plays, then, as they say in the classics, Bob's your uncle, Broncos to win.
And the Sharks are missing Ero too. So so their left centre stocks.
Lottie's now injured too.
Yeah, so their left centre stocks are a little bit depleted. So I'd expect Brisbane to really target that right hand or that left hand defensive side of the Sharks and send Katoni Staggs and these guys at him. He was unbelievable last game, Staggs. So I really, I'm confident enough to tip Brisbane here.
Roosters versus the Cowboys at Allianz. Last year, I was actually at this game where the Cowboys had all of their origin players out, Robson, Dearden, Nanai, against basically a full-strength Roosters side, and they won.
Yeah.
Going off last week, Cowboys, I would go as far as to say that Todd Payton's got a couple of weeks left.
Don't forget, that was all his best players are out for that.
Yeah, no, I don't care. Honestly, I think they've been not very good all year.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't think they've been great either.
And I don't think it's the players. It's probably one of the rare occasions where a side's not going well, where I don't blame the players. A lot of the time, the players, the coach is the scapegoat.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to say it because I know people's jobs are on the line here. But at the end of the day, speaking from the head, I really think that Todd Payton's days are numbered. And I have heard that Josh Hannay is being spoken about already.
Yeah, I heard that yesterday.
So,
which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, given that Dearden's now in Origin, and like they've got Titans next week, then they play the Storm, the Cowboys I'm talking about, then they play the Dogs, then the Dolphins. Well, their run's not good, for the next few weeks. So they could end up where they're sitting on the table. That they could end up close to the bottom. In a few rounds' time, because they've got no buys until last end of the season.
Yeah.
So they can't rely on the buy to help them out like the other teams are. So they've actually got to win with the squad that they've got. Ruben Cotter, obviously, as well. So Ruben Cotter, Nanai, Robson, and Dearden. They're huge.
Yeah, losses.
Huge losses.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I'm
tipping the Roosters in this game at home.
Lock the Roosters in. This is a toughie to finish off the round. The Eels versus the Titans.
16 versus 17. I'm going upset here. I'm going the Titans. I'm going the Titans. I'm going the Titans.
Well, the Titans are favourites, mate, so that's not an upset.
Well, yeah, okay, I didn't see that, but yeah. Yeah, fair call. No, I'm going.
Just remember Mitch Moses is out for an extended.
Yeah, I know he's out for a long time. Yeah. I thought Kieran Foran was excellent for the Titans. Tino probably back up, Fodawaker. I think the Titans will win this. I've got a lot of confidence from last week beating Manly, and I think they'll get this done. I think it'll be an entertaining game. This could be a game where it's like 34-32. You know what I mean?
That'd be nice though.
Yeah, no, it's what I mean. It'll be close and high scoring. So yeah, I think the Titans will win this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and more around the reason that I think earlier in the year we mentioned who is the most influential player single-handedly for one club.
Mitchell Moses.
Yeah, it's Mitchell Moses.
Yeah,
and Jaden Campbell is an absolute superstar of the future, and their new setup with Brimson at fullback. For the first time in a long time, every time Brimson gets the ball, he actually looks dangerous.
Yep.
So for that reason, lock in the Titans.
That's it.
Well, there you have it. What an episode.
Good.
Origin tomorrow night. We're going to do another giveaway of some socks as well. We're gonna try and favour towards New South Wales here. It went to a Queensland person last time, so hopefully the New South Wales community of Nostra get around that. We got some New South Wales socks. I'll see if I can quickly find some while we're still recording, to showcase, which I do. We've got the New South Wales ones here for those who can see. So get around the competition we're running over the next couple of days. And good luck to everyone on the weekend.
Have a good one.